is the Five on Fox and Friends' show, weighing in on the disturbing footage that was released yesterday by the Austin...
Yeah, the Austin American-Statesman.
I just want to get these local papers right because they're doing good reporting right now. And particularly because the Uvalde cops just want the mainstream national media to get out of Dodge so that they can escape accountability on what happened at Robb Elementary. So I'm appreciative of these local papers keeping their, foot on their neck, for lack of a better phrase, to make sure that these Uvalde cops are held accountable for this. And the footage that we showed part of yesterday basically just sheds light on and shows the cops standing around in the hallways for 72 minutes, waiting for there to be dozens and dozens of cops there, heavily armored, before they did anything. And they could have saved lives during that period of time. And they had all the requisite training. All of the training says that as soon as you outnumber the shooter, particularly if you have the ammunition and the body armor that these cops have, that you go in an active shooter situation like this. And they did not. They did not follow the training that is universally supposed to be applied to this, despite having 40% of this town's budget. And so, this is a complete instance of, this is why we talk about defunding the police, reallocating those resources, and demilitarizing them to a degree. And it's really difficult, I think, for right-wingers to actually grapple with these facts. Take Greg Gutfeld for an example, where he tries to essentially defend this indefensible footage and plays devil's advocate in responding to this.
Barricaded and beaten and stopped from going in to save their own kids. And they will have to live with that the rest of their lives. And these police officers will too. Right.
Yeah, everybody's in agreement here. So maybe I'm just going to be a devil's advocate for the sake of this show. I'm always reluctant to condemn people in these situations simply because I don't know how I would react. I said that to Harold and Jesse, I don't know, it was yesterday maybe, and Harold said, Greg, you're not trained to do this. They are trained to do it. And he's definitely right on that. However, we are not hearing the things that they're hearing, which is thank God. I mean, I don't even know what that would sound like. And I don't know what I would do.
Children screaming.
Children scream, and you've got a gun and you're not doing anything. I don't understand that. I do think that the checking of the phone thing, I think you got to give that a pass because, he could be waiting.
It was his wife.
Yeah, it's something very, it could have been, or I was going to say it could have been his boss. I don't know, But the thing is, when I look at the video, I don't hear the screaming. So now I have to rethink this. But I thought, okay, I see them stalling, and I can't mind read. So I can't.
Look at this. They're running backwards.
I know.
This is after
Let me
the
finish,
shots are
Martha.
fired.
I'm just trying to make a point. I can't mind read, right? So I can't definitely say, oh, this is cowardice. It might be a fear of violating a rule in a risk-averse terrain. I mean, police are under such pressure these days, not to just stop crime, but also to keep their careers from being destroyed. Their careers are destroyed. But if they had taken the initiative that wasn't authorized and it didn't go well, well, then we'd hang them out to dry too. They would, if they actually took the initiative and kids had died, we'd be going, why did you do that? So there's no way to win in this except they didn't do their job. And I'm saying that, but I think that maybe, let's not hang them right now forever. That's me.
So
I thought he was playing devil's advocate. That's me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nobody wanted to touch that there too, by the way. Nobody wanted
That's
to
how
respond
indefensible this was. It was like hand sanitizer, checking your phone. Oh, your wife's calling? I'm sorry, that's not an excuse either. They edited out the children screaming in that video. They edited out their screams, but that you could hear shots being fired and you knew that there was screaming happening. And we also know, sorry, Bender, just 1 second. We also know that there were 911 calls, multiple 911 calls from a girl pretending to be dead on the floor who was on hold. We know that. We know that this girl, she said, I'm alive, I'm in here. And they still stood around, in addition to hearing the screams, in addition to hearing the shots. They were cowards. And like, that's just his way of saying, it's that they were afraid of getting canceled and damned if they do, damned if they don't. No, if they had gone in there within the minutes when they arrived after the shooting happened, this would not be a story. It's a story because of what their actions were.
Yeah, it's very bizarre to see some of the defenses to this. I mean, I know the mayor of Uvalde is attacking the media for releasing these videos. And the latest thing I saw is that cop checking his phone, his wife was the one who was in there who was shot. His wife was the teacher, which makes it even weirder, though, because we were told that he was not allowed to, he went to go in to save her, and he was like tackled to the ground and his gun was taken from him and he was escorted out of the premises. I mean, I don't know if the video they just cut that part out, but we don't see that in the 75-minute video. He doesn't we don't see him attempt to go in there and do something. It's a bit bizarre that, you would listen to your boss if you knew your wife or kid was in there.
Was that
because
confirmed?
You were afraid of losing your job, like Greg Gutfeld said. But yeah, this is the same thing we've been hearing about this is what happens when you defund the police, or you're too hard on the police, you hurt their feelings, and then they have to watch out for themselves. These are kids we're talking about, little babies who were screaming, and they went running in, and the second they heard gunfire, they turned around and ran right out. I mean, just indefensible. I'm sorry. I don't know. Whatever was going through their mind, it really doesn't matter. As someone who is not trained to do this, if it was my kids in there or my wife in there or anyone's child in there, I can't imagine just hightailing it out for an hour, maybe to back up for a few minutes to recalculate what you need to do. But an hour? No, indefensible. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I saw that information going around it yesterday too, that the guy on the phone was the husband of a woman or a teacher in the classroom. I don't know if it was confirmed. We've heard a lot of stuff from the cops and from friends of the cops in Uvalde that turned out to not be true. But like, certainly, as Matt said, we didn't see what they described as having happened prior to the video being released of him being dragged away as he tried to help. I mean, we didn't see much of anything in that video. They just seemed to be posted up outside the door for long enough to watch the entirety of The Nightmare Before Christmas, to be honest, because of how short that movie actually is. But they certainly didn't seem to be trying anything that would be adequately described as saving anyone's life. And I think that's a hard pill to swallow for even people like Greg Gutfeld and a lot of the people who were previously pro-cop, because it's a lot easier, I think, for Americans to, come up with excuses for why cops might have to kill people, especially Black people in America, as a way to protect the larger society and maintain the social order. And so like the cops, the aggressiveness of the cops in maintaining that kind of racial and capitalistic social order just beats hand waved a lot. What a lot of people were hand waving it in service of was this narrative about the cops that the reason they do this is because one day they're going to save you. And so watching the cops sit around and not save, not just like people who need saved, which they don't do all the time, but like a bunch of children in a classroom in such a cowardly manner allows for a lot of people to do something that cops really don't benefit from you doing, which is imagining you in the position of needing them and them not being there to help you, which is the reality that most people in America have to deal with. But it's also heavily obscured by shows like Law and Order SVU and Blue Bloods and all the other shit that comes on TV. So I think a lot of Americans, it's terrible to say it, like watching cops beat or shoot unarmed Black people on TV was not enough to motivate them to hate cops, because they couldn't imagine themselves as an unarmed Black person. They could imagine themselves as someone being attacked by a Black person who needs to be beaten. But now in this situation, they can definitely imagine their kids in a school with a shooter, because that's happening all the time. And to know that the cops won't do anything is just, it's just breaking away the last little bits of the American, mythos.
I will say we were also told that one of the reasons why they waited was because they didn't have the gear necessary. But in that video, we see people with the gear necessary, complete full body shields in front of them, like the ones with like the riot shields with the little window in, so they could even hold it over their face and see through. And they just waited around talking with the cops outside, not even like right outside the classroom, down that long stretch of hallway, completely away from the classroom where gunfire was still going off. Just I don't know how anyone can even pretend to play devil's advocate here. He had a hard
time.
Yeah. I mean,
what did you say,
amazing.
Brandon?
I said even Greg Gutfeld had a hard time. I know that's hard for me, but he had a hard time. Every time he started like introducing some, sort of counterfactual, he was like, yeah, but like there are a lot of damn cops in that hallway, like 30 of them. He could shoot every one of them and they would still be able to throw more cops in. So like obviously it just became a, issue of self-preservation, which cops would have told you was true before this and they'll tell you it's true after this. But, when you actually see it on television, you're like, damn. Because I think a lot of regular people, maybe they don't have the training, maybe they don't have the tools or whatever, the mentality, but they certainly would have, or rather imagine themselves to be capable of saving their own child's life. And so the cops not doing it is just like a non-starter,
Right. There was someone even posted screenshots. There's a Reddit forum, a subreddit called Protect and Serve, where basically to be able to post in that forum, you need to confirm to the moderators that you are indeed a cop. Like you have to show like your ID and your badge and everything. And even the people in that subreddit, the cops in there. And I'm not saying this to say those are the good guys. I'm saying this to show just how ridiculous the Uvalde cops acted. Even the cops in that forum were like, this is ridiculous. I've never seen anything like this. This is horrible. These guys were completely in the wrong. And rarely do you ever hear like cops go against their own. That thin blue line for the Uvalde cops is really getting thinner and thinner as each new piece of material comes out showing just how much they failed.
Although we can always count on Greg Gutfeld to color in that line.
I will say that's, I don't know if he colored within the line, but definitely he would have tried. But I don't know if, but that's only, the cops say that, but that's just because, these cops were caught. I'd have a hard time believing that any other cop, on average would have acted any differently. And they certainly would have been sticking up for these cops had there not been so much pushback against their obvious lies in the beginning and so much evidence and indisputable evidence that they acted cowardly. Now all cops can do is like carve out these cops from themselves and go like, oh yeah, but no, these are the bad cops, the ones who don't protect and serve. We're the good ones. When in reality, this is the thin blue line is falling apart because they're also cowards like their friends and they don't want to go down with the ship. So like, it's cowardice top to bottom.